The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long orange reflections across the tranquil waters of the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Elise Carter stood at the prow of the small research vessel, her short auburn hair tousled by the gentle breeze. Clutched in her hands was an ancient map, its edges worn and yellowed by the passage of time. Her heart quickened as she traced the intricate lines and symbols with her fingertips. A hidden world beneath the waves, she murmured to herself, her voice nearly swallowed by the rhythmic sound of waves lapping against the hull. Her blue eyes sparkled with anticipation. Elise had spent countless hours piecing together this puzzle, a map that led to a forgotten underwater cavern near this very remote island. Elise adjusted her glasses, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. She knew what discovering this lost civilization could mean, not just for her career, but for understanding the mysteries locked away by time. The crew moved about the deck, busily preparing diving equipment. She could hear their chatter, punctuated by occasional bursts of laughter, but her mind was on the discovery ahead. As she slid the map into her waterproof pack, the soft thud brought her back to reality. Dr. Carter, came the voice of her lead diver, Lucas, a compact man with a reassuring demeanor. "We're ready when you are." "Thanks, Lucas," she replied, her voice steady, yet tinged with eagerness. As she glanced over the water towards the island's silhouette, shrouded in blue-gray mist, an undeniable sense of adventure coursed through her veins. "This is it," she thought, inhaling the salty air deeply. "The moment when history changes." With a final nod to her team, she set foot onto the skiff that would carry her to the shores of the island, her mind racing with the possibilities of what lay beneath the waves. The thick foliage bordered the small inlet where her skiff landed, and Elise made her way up the rocky path to the base camp set amidst clustered palms. The island's dense canopy filtered the light, casting flickering patterns on the ground. As Elise approached the camp, she felt a growing sense of uncanny awareness prickling at the back of her neck. It wasn't just the island's eerie beauty, it was a presence that felt wrong. She soon discovered the source of her unease. Standing beside a makeshift table cluttered with navigational charts and high-tech equipment was Victor Kane. Tall and lean, with a calculating gaze that missed nothing, Victor was famous, or perhaps infamous, in the archaeological community for his ambitious, often morally questionable methods. "Elise," Victor greeted coolly, his eyes locking onto hers with a predatory glint. "Or are we on the first-name basis on this little escapade?" "Victor," Elise replied, her voice calm but firm. Inside, her heart thudded faster, a mix of adrenaline and irritation prickling at her professionalism. "I should have guessed I'd find you chasing myths in the middle of nowhere," Victor continued, his voice slick with mock geniality. Taking a deep breath, Elise attempted to read him, wondering not for the first time what secrets lay behind his impenetrable exterior. Could he really have learned of the map's existence independently? The prospect seemed unlikely, yet here he was. "Chasing truths," Elise corrected, scanning his camp with her eyes. Victor's presence was a challenge she hadn't anticipated, adding a layer of complexity to her mission. "And I suppose this meeting is purely coincidental?" Victor shrugged, a smirk playing on his lips. "Coincidences are part of the game, aren't they? My interests just happen to align with yours, as they often do. But let's not pretend this island can hide its secrets from the both of us." The air between them crackled with unsaid challenges, and Elise knew that this was only the beginning. They each turned away, both aware of the invisible line drawn between them, each step a dance on the thin edge of rivalry and perhaps, treachery. The muffled sound of oxygen bubbles rose around Elise as she descended into the depths. The water, a surreal shade of deep azure, shimmered with rippling sunlight that filtered from above. Her hands tightened around the guide rope as she navigated towards the elusive entrance to the underwater cavern. Her mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead, a civilization long lost, its tales etched in stone, silent and undisturbed for centuries. The ocean, in its vast patience, had held these ancient secrets tightly. Her heart thumped loudly in her chest, the anticipation melding with a rising spark of fear as her flashlight beam cut through the murk, revealing an array of monolithic stone formations. Shapes resembling ancient totems loomed out of the shadows, offering glimpses into lives lived thousands of years ago. She marveled at the intricate carvings visible through the swirling silt. Symbols she'd studied surged into her mind. They spoke of wisdom, achievements, and warnings. Her inner academic strained to decipher them all while her heart remained transfixed with discovery. A school of brilliant parrotfish passed, temporarily obscuring her view, their shimmering scales a cascade of colors in the dim light. As they scattered, Elise's light caught something out of place. A sound, distant yet resonant, reached her ears, a deep hum it seemed, as if the cavern itself was awakening. She hesitated, feeling a shiver run through her. "Am I alone here?" her mind whispered. But the allure of discovery propelled her forward. Finally, she reached the entrance outlined on the ancient map. The opening gaped wide, black and silent as the abyss. Taking a deep breath to steady herself and adjusting her diving gear one last time, Elise swam into the cavern, leaving the safety of the open ocean behind. The realm she entered was breathtaking, a catacomb of stone columns and vast chambers. The carvings grew more complex, depicting a society that had flourished and faded like the tides. Yet beneath their beauty, a foreboding narrative emerged, hinting at events unknown and a culture brought to its knees, not by time, but by choice. The air, though purely the recycled breathing of her apparatus, felt charged and alive with silent voices. This was a place of memories, a sanctuary of stories waiting to be brought back into the light. The island's base camp bustled with Victor's team, and Elise could feel the tension in the air. Victor was always several steps ahead, it was his hallmark. Her mind was sharp with worry and determination as she considered the implications of his interference. Victor's silhouette loomed in the glowing interior of his tent. He was on the phone, speaking in hushed tones. Elise stood just out of sight, straining to catch words of his conversation. Bits and pieces reached her ears, references to delays, logistics, and securing the prize. Victor's plans were unfolding faster than she'd anticipated, and the realization stung her conscience. Elise clutched the pendant she wore under her wetsuit, her fingers tracing its smooth lines for comfort. The warnings she'd found in the caverns came rushing back, guardians failed. Beware the call of power. Returning to her own camp, her mind raced. Betrayal and discovery mixed like oil and water. Victor's interest was unsurprising, but the depths he might reach to achieve his ambitions put everyone at risk. "Elise, you all right?" Lucas's voice cut through her thoughts. The diver approached, concern etched in his brow. "We've got a problem, Lucas," Elise admitted, her voice a hushed yet urgent whisper. "Victor's after something powerful, and he won't let anything stand in his way." Lucas's eyes widened. "We need to alert the rest. If we work together, maybe." "No," Elise interrupted quickly, shaking her head. "The more who know, the more danger we're in." She paused, considering her actions carefully. "But we have to get there first. We can't let him use it." Lucas nodded, understanding the weight of their situation. "What do you need from me?" As they hashed out a plan, Elise realized that this mission had transformed. It was no longer just about unlocking history's secrets. It was about preventing a future steeped in those same lessons ignored. The night deepened, and the island seemed more shrouded in mystery than ever. The steady beat of waves on the shore was a lullaby, but Elise's mind was wide awake. This place, once merely a point of academic interest, had become a crucible of urgency. And the morning would bring choices, charged with rivalry and potential catastrophe. The cavern's water glimmered under Elise's flashlight, shadows playing tricks on her eyes as she emerged into a vast chamber. Time seemed suspended in this hidden world. The walls, inscribed with the history of a forgotten people, whispered legends of triumph and downfall. As Elise took in her surroundings, she noticed a mosaic across one wall, astonishing in detail. As she focused the beam of light, the images seemed to come alive, unfolding a tragic tale through pictographs. There they were, the prophecy, the warnings, all painted across the ancient stone canvas. She traced the outlines of figures, powerful yet poised on the precipice of ruin. They spoke of power and the peril it brought, a civilization undone by its own creation. This This is what they feared the most, Elise thought, her heart filled with a profound sense of both awe and dread. The warning read, "We gifted the world our knowledge, and in our hubris, brought forth our end. Our legacy, a two-edged sword." Her heart pounded as she realized what the artifact could do if misused, if placed in the wrong hands. Victor's hands. Elise backed away from the wall, the enormity of her task settling over her like a shroud. "I have to protect this," she resolved, feeling a new wave of determination strengthen her spirit. Her mind flickered back to Victor. He was relentless, driven by ambition without comprehension of the catastrophe that would follow. Understanding flooded her thoughts, not just archaeological curiosity now, but a protector's duty. Turning back towards the cavern entrance, resolve burned bright within her. Doubt and trepidation melted away, leaving only clarity. "Lucas," she spoke into her radio as she ascended, voice firm. "I need every resource we can muster. Victor can't reach this place, not before we find a way to safeguard it." Emerging from the depths, Elise was greeted by the welcoming embrace of sunlight filtering through the water above. With each stroke towards the surface, her resolve solidified. She had unraveled a critical element of the past, but the journey was far from over. The cavern's heart was a cathedral of time, echoing with the unspoken voices of its creators. Both Elise and Victor swam through its arteries, driven by competing obsessions, one of preservation, the other of possession. Victor was ahead, his figure a specter among the shadows as he pushed forward tirelessly. His mask obscured anything revealing about his intentions, but his body screamed determination. Elise followed, the weight of their confrontation pressing against her like the ocean itself. Her body moved in rhythm with the currents, a dance of survival and ingenuity. Every movement calculated, she closed the distance between them. The artifact lay at the cavern's end, a simple orb nestled within a pedestal, pulsating with a mystic aura, its hum faint yet resonant. Victor reached it first, fingers brushing the surface as Elise shouted through her rebreather. "Victor, you mustn't. It's too dangerous." He hesitated, glancing back with a mixture of disdain and respect. "These warnings are paranoia, Elise. Harnessing power is the only way forward." As he spoke, a low rumble coursed through the cavern. Stones grated against one another, and the water vibrated with new urgency. "It's collapsing." Elise's thoughts screamed, and she surged forward, a force of determination propelling her. Victor's moment of hesitation allowed her to reach him. "If you value our lives, step back," Elise implored, her voice a thin thread of desperation and determination. The rumble grew, turning into an undeniable roar as currents shifted violently. Victor paused, and in that fleeting moment, Elise seized her chance, gripping his arm and pulling him away as the ceiling began to crumble. Both of them pushed against the current towards safety, the artifact left behind, pulsing with its own eternal rhythm. But as the cavern collapsed, understanding blossomed around them. Sometimes wisdom meant knowing when to let go. With a final surge, they broke through the cavern's entrance, the island bathed in twilight above, survival and understanding their shared victory. Elise breached the water's surface, gasping, her heart pounding from both exertion and triumph. The world above felt altered, tinged with a golden hue, as if acknowledging the sacrifice below. She hauled herself onto the boat, water dripping from her suit, the weight of the past few hours sinking into her muscles. The artifact, a potential curse or gift, rested untouched beneath the waves, safe from Victor's reach. Victor emerged shortly after, his expression unreadable as he climbed aboard. The silence between them was as deep as the ocean they'd left behind, yet filled with an unspoken truce. Lucas and the crew gathered around, relief mingling with curiosity as they watched the archaeologists, awaiting their story. "It's done," Elise said finally, her voice carrying over the sound of waves. She turned to Victor, their rivalry tempered by shared experience. "Sometimes the greatest victory is knowing what must remain hidden." Victor nodded, his previous bravado tempered by a new understanding. The lure of power, juxtaposed with the wisdom of restraint, left its mark on them both. The boat cut through the water, carrying them away from the island's mystery. During the journey back, Elise leaned against the rail, her mind a whirlwind of images, a vanished culture, their warnings heeded, their secrets protected. The sense of responsibility lay heavy on her, but also, a profound respect for the civilization's legacy that now whispered in her ear. Its relics were more than history, they were reminders of humanity's potential to both create and destroy. As the mainland loomed nearer, Elise knew her journey wasn't over. The artifact's allure had been resisted, but its story needed telling, its lessons passed on. She resolved to honor them, to learn from those echoes across time, and to guard their secrets fiercely. Elise gazed out over the endless horizon, feeling the enormity of her vow. We might have left the island, she thought with a quiet smile, but its truth will never leave us.